Welcome to the AI Business News Desk. Terry Sweeney here, contributing editor to AI Business, and joining me now is Jacqueline Karlin, AI Product Executive and Advisor, and Ambassador for Global Women in AI. Jacqueline, thanks so much for joining us on News Desk.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a great event so far and really good to be here.
Right. Well, we are talking about a loaded topic, consumer trust in the age of AI agents. What could go wrong? Let's just start with a statement that you made about AI agents, which I thought was smart and also provocative. You've referred to AI agents as economic actors. Tell us what you mean by that.
Yeah, I believe in a future where consumers are delegating tasks to agents so that they operate on their behalf. And for me to delegate a task to anyone, or even an AI, I need to have trust on it.
Of course.
And but there is a lot of value that one can get out of delegating a task, especially around time, around decision making. And so one thing that I love is that we're already seeing consumers, 30% of US consumers are looking to use AI for shopping this holiday. That's a lot of people.
Sure is. Yeah.
And this has helped me find something that will make my family happy. So you're delegating that task, and with time then you're going to be able to find it and actually maybe delegate the payment decision as well if you trust it enough, right?
I'm curious if you know the demographics of this 30%. My guess is that most of them are 30 or younger.
I think it is more about the early adopters still. So
Sure.
yes, younger, but also those that are dabbling within AI and have used it. I think a great use case started using to help you with your emails, and then you started asking questions around what should I get, and now every time that you have something that an AI might help you with the decision, you start asking it, and hopefully it starts executing it pretty soon.
How does all this change consumer behavior and even buying habits? Obviously, it's being automated more. Well, what's the impact there?
Yeah, I think the consumer behavior we're already seeing, right? Consumers are looking, especially on high consideration items. If I'm looking for a headset that's really good with noise canceling, and I'm going to spend $400 or $500 on it, instead of going directly to the merchant to figure out what's the inventory, I'm going to ask an AI to help me figure it out and work through the trade-offs around cost, what I'm looking for.
Okay.
And interesting enough, the moment that I go to that retailer, then I already know what I want.
Right, right.
And if you compare, I believe in general in commerce, only 2.4% of consumers actually buy something when they visit your site. And with high consideration items in web commerce, that's even lower. I believe it's between 0.5 and 1.5%. So it's a lot of infrastructure and money to get your customer there when they actually don't buy. But if you now have a customer coming in with more information and more confident on their decision, we're already seeing a higher conversion from that traffic.
Okay, so agents are doing more filtration of features, of price, availability, like all those things that we typically would have to do otherwise, right?
Yeah, I'd say it's getting a lot of decision making and a lot of variables and helping the consumer get to that answer faster and trust that they're getting the right headset, or if they're traveling, that they get the best travel plans or they get the best flight and all of those things.
Obviously a different kind of purchase than buying socks, for example.
Yes, for toothpaste, socks, if you want apples, you don't need to go there.
I do want apples. Okay.
And that's actually a really good use case for what we call autonomous shopping, where you don't care that much if it's whatever type of toothpaste. It's going to be a couple of bucks, just order it and deliver it. I care more about the convenience than having to check and interact with the AI. Versus a high consideration item, then I want to understand more and have a say before I do that.
So agents have been trained to save the receipt.
Save the receipt, or ask me before you execute to make sure that I'm comfortable with it.
Excellent. How does all this new functionality translate to a competitive advantage for consumer brands that are using AI in this way?
I think for those consumer brands that have a real ethos that talks to a certain market and consumer, they'll have more advantage in the sense that if I'm someone that really wants to buy something from a local shop, does that data set come in and say, okay, this is a local shop versus this is a big merchant? Or I want to buy something that the supply chain is sustainable, that data set coming into the decisioning now is much cheaper and faster than it used to be. So you can differentiate yourself much better with the algorithm than having to go through multiple layers and hope that that differentiator makes itself into the search engine.
I mean, this feels like a no-brainer, but to go back to your initial point of trust, as long as the trust is there, right?
Yeah, we see today even the race to be your agent of choice. So will consumers pick Gemini, ChatGPT, Perplexity? And it's really about, I'm picking the agent for this task that I believe is going to do it in the best way for multiple reasons. Trust is one of them, in that you'll have my best interest, you'll protect my personal data, but at the end, you also want the task to be done really well.
Yeah, right, okay. What are the business and technology imperatives that this creates for businesses that have gone all in on AI?
I think there's a big difference in what we're talking on. The last 2 years, we've seen a lot of investments happening on efficiency of your internal workflows. What we're talking here is a different paradigm. We're saying, let's build new products and a new way to talk to your consumer, so you actually grow your business in these ecosystems,
Okay.
versus driving coding faster, designing faster, or resolving a bug faster. We're saying, meet your customer where they're at in a new experience. So that, for me, is the main paradigm shift from industry leaders when it comes to investing in AI.
And a really powerful incentive for retailers who are scrambling to expand their revenue streams.
Yeah, but I'd say it's retailers, but if you're a dentist, you want to be found.
Well, sure.
You want to make sure your differentiator is there. If you're selling, I don't know, if you're a farmer, you can even use these tools as long as you have that input, so that you are part of the reasoning, you're part of the output and the recommendations that come.
Okay, so back to trust. Are you satisfied by the levels of security that are in place? Whether it's regulations or codes of ethics and responsible AI and all those nice promises we hear about?
What I really like is that we're having this question as we're building the technology. And we already learned, I think the biggest risk is that we've went through a lot of the learning curve with all the assistants and all of that in the past. And now that we're creating agents with Gen AI, there's a lot more consciousness around this, but there's a risk. The talent that has made the mistakes in the past is not the same talent that's building now. So how do we upskill the talent to not remake known mistakes and break credibility and trust? Because we know what a good exchange on privacy settings look like. We don't need to reinvent that. Or when assistant will call you to ask and say, confirm, is this really what you want me to do? We've had that a long time, right? When Alexa calls Spotify to play music, you know that Alexa's calling Spotify. And if the song is wrong, then do you blame Spotify or do you blame Alexa? But you understand that there's two agents working together to resolve that task for you. And you trust in different levels that each one is doing their job.
Jacqueline, take us out with some thoughts on maybe an existing site, an existing online retailer or commercial entity that's actually doing a good job with this, or is showing a lot of promise with regard to how they use agents.
I think everyone is experimenting now. So all the agent-to-agent protocols, all the agent-to-payment protocols, all of that is coming live and the experiences are coming. I think we don't have a winner use case yet. The infrastructure is catching up to consumers, but we have a lot of movers and a lot of announcements being made over the last few weeks. We've seen PayPal with Perplexity, with a few merchants. We've seen Walmart with OpenAI. And so there's a lot of enterprises moving here to solidify what it looks like. But I think the main discussion here is what is the best customer journey. less about the technology. It's much more about the design.
All right, Jacqueline, thanks for the roadmap and the important element of trust along the way. Really appreciate you stopping by News Desk today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
We've been talking with Jacqueline Karlin. This has been Terry Sweeney for the AI Business News Desk. Thanks for joining us for this segment. We'll see you next time.